Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sunrise Extra. It's all the ladies in the house. We have some nice primary colors on almost.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. Oh, except I'm like gray.
White.
That's cute. I love the yellow.
I don't really know what primary colors are apparently then. Happy Tuesday to you. Hey, we are talking about something that may be kind of a hot topic this week because we're going to be all over the place on our weather temperatures. So the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, just came out and said, hey guys, for the sake of planet Earth, you should set your thermostat at 78 degrees when you're home, 85 when you're away, and to sleep, here's the kicker. They think it should be set at 82 degrees while you sleep.
82?
That's what I said.
But you make me really feel badly by
We're killing the environment
because it's for the planet.
Yeah.
When you say it that way, then
Okay.
I'm like, well,
But for your own sanity and those around you, like you would never sleep.
no. I mean, we
82
would, but it
degrees.
would be uncomfortable.
I mean,
first world problem.
Right, I know,
totally.
and I'm thankful.
I know, we
I'm
know.
so thankful for AC, but I feel like I've read articles talking about the best temperature to sleep at, and it's not 82. It's the colder kind of temperatures. People get the best sleep at the coldest temperatures, or the colder temperatures.
But that's cranking up the AC.
I know.
I mean, if you can open a window and get that, you know, that's great.
I know, but sometimes in the summer it's really, really hot.
Yeah.
Still, things don't cool down quite as fast as I would like.
And people are really fired up.
This
about
is
this
like
one.
setting the internet ablaze, people.
My
So
gosh,
I posted this morning. We'll just kind of show you some of the comments here, and then we want to hear from you live. So we posted this on Facebook. And Joe Luarca says the second comment, I'd never be able to sleep at 82 degrees. Preposterous. And Jason says, you should always set it at room temperature. That's so zen to say. That way, no matter how hot or cold the room is, it's always room temperature. What does that mean, Jason? What is the number? That's what I need to know. Jerry says, not happening, too hot. Kelly, no way, not happening. Let the EPA do all that. Tim weighing in with a number. His is always set between 68 and 72. Brenda, you and I are 68 girls.
Yep, absolutely.
Kevin, he's a 68 fan. 68, call it good. Let's see what else people are saying on the KGW. Yeah, Katie says, I would never sleep if my house was set to 82. That's crazy talk. Steven says, 85 when I leave is fine, but 70 when I sleep is a must. Never let the feds regulate your freedoms. I like that, MK Smith. And on Twitter, we pose the same question. We like to include our Twitter friends. Bend Dirt says, yeah, right. And keep it at 55 to save gas, too. That's a great comparison. Right? On the speed limit, you would never actually drive 55. Katya says, I grew up in the South with no AC. It is doable. You adjust and you get used to it.
And honestly, a lot of people chiming in on our live stream too, like a lot of people. Amy, see, this
is like getting you guys fired up.
Amy Freud, that's insane. I would never sleep. Jennifer, no way. Lisa Mellinger, BS.
Yep.
That's what she says.
I'm with you, Lisa.
Yeah, Annie says there's no way, and Joy says too warm at night equals a nightmare. I am with
Okay,
you,
so
girl.
what are your numbers, you guys? You
At
said
my
68,
house?
yeah.
Yes, 68, no problem. I mean, people in my house, my boyfriend has given over to the phrase, I'm like, are you hot? He goes, I'm whatever temperature you are. Because he knows I'm going to be
So
cranking
nice.
down.
You're just going to do whatever you
thermostat.
want.
I'm like, ding, 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 ding. And then I'll turn it up a little bit when I get too cold. I'm always fiddling with it.
And then your daughter wears a parka at home.
I know. Mama has hot flashes. It's like, I can't help it. I get hot, I'm like, everybody's going to be cold.
Yeah.
She does. I posted a picture on social, I think it was Facebook, like a couple years ago, and she's like in full parka, and she's just looking at me like, how could you? I'm like,
I love you had a line
man.
though this morning. It was like, it's kind of like if you're driving the car, you get to pick the radio
oh,
station.
you pay the bill. Yeah, I pay that bill, so I get to say what the thermostat is.
Okay, I can see
This
that.
is the thing, like, if you know Brenda and you come in this, usually they keep like TV studios
It's pretty
on the
cool.
chilly
It's
side because
pretty
we have
chilly,
so
actually,
many
in
dang
here.
lights that would heat it up and computers and all that stuff. Brenda's hands and arms are ice cold
Oh, they
to the touch,
are.
always. but you're hot all the time.
No, I'm not hot
you know
all
what?
the time.
Your
but
hands are
I
cold,
run-
but your
I'm
arms are kind of warm.
So are yours. Your hands
My hands are
super
freezing.
cold.
My hands are freezing.
Yeah.
And I've got sandals on them. I'm sure my toes are too. And perhaps it's a
So
circulatory
her extremities
issue.
are freezing, but she is just comfortable inside.
Right in
I don't know what
here.
you call that, but
Her
it
core.
works. Yeah.
I think 68 is too cold for me. 72 is kind of like
Is your
my
zone. Your
zone.
perfect
That's my
comfort
comfortable zone, I'd say.
But I turn the AC off, like if we're going away for a couple
Absolutely.
days.
Yeah, because then you don't need it. Then you're just
something like
wasting
that.
money.
But you said you didn't want to admit how low it was at your house.
I'm like a 69, 70 usually, like
Oh, okay.
68 if it's, if it's hot. It is
But don't
nice
you
to
like to
open that
snuggle?
door and you just feel like the cool air and you're like, oh,
Yes.
thank God.
And then at
Yeah.
night you snuggle down in the covers, so it's really, the room is cold, but you're all snuggly.
Yeah, and they've said, I mean, you get good sleep when
Let's see what
when
else.
it's colder out.
Especially with those, have you seen those things that are
Whoa.
like weighted blankets?
Carlos, I can't read that on our little stream.
Joy, 62. Hers is 62.
Wow.
Joy Votter.
Here's somebody else too.
Raised in
Is it
Alaska.
Terrell Davis, 62?
Oh, Harry
Tristy says 72. Here, look
wow,
here.
That's like
62
cold.
is so cold. 60.
What do
Harry?
you guys on Instagram
60?
think?
No way.
What's your temperature? What's your number?
Yeah, what's your number? 'Cause
Rod,
Harry
what's your number?
says 60.
Personal?
What's your number?
That's my number.
we have your number.
I mean, we typically keep it on 72, but I will say this. If I were given the choice, you can only be comfortable, you can only have a controlled setting during the day or at night.
Yeah.
I would choose to suffer whatever the daytime gave me and be comfortable at night. So if I had to do one
sweat
or the
during
two.
the day and be comfortable.
Yes,
Yeah,
because
you
they
have
always
to
put out these
sleep.
settings like set it at some crazy temperature at night, but in my mind, I'm like, no, I'd rather do the opposite. I would rather sacrifice and be comfortable at night, even though I'm sleeping with the low setting.
But you have isn't your home one level? Because if I let the temperature just skyrocket during the day, like on a
the
hot
upper
summer
floor
day,
is just
the upper
unbearable.
floors,
Oh,
I don't
totally.
think would ever cool down, and that's where we sleep. You've got this sprawling estate, right?
let's
It's
say-
all one level.
We have a couple pools. I'm kidding.
I wish. I'm coming over.
Party at Rod's.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, everyone talking about their numbers. 62, 72, 70.
Wilbur,
68,
Andrea.
70.
I like this one. Where did I just lost it, dang it.
Wasn't who's old? I am. Brenda, you may
am.
remember this, Brenda.
And I own every damn year.
During the Carter administration, remember there was the energy crisis? And,
Yes, in
and
the
they were really
70s.
making a big deal of mandating that we do certain things. And one of those was they were pushing keeping the thermostat in the house at a certain temperature. But I want to say it was like 76 degrees or something.
I don't remember that, but I do remember we never used to turn the lights off in the house back in the day. Like, you'd go
Oh,
from room
yeah,
to room
I
and
do
you'd
that now.
leave the lights
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
That was so ingrained in me as a kid, it drives me crazy. Like, I can't believe that people leave rooms. I'm always turning off the lights. That was from the 70s.
But they will tell you that's fine if you're not going to go back into that room anytime soon. But isn't it true that the actual clicking of the light on takes up
think it's so
more
energy
energy than if
efficient
that
now.
light was just
that's
on for like an
interesting.
hour? I think that's true.
PGE?
I think that's
Yeah,
true.
weigh in.
Yeah, weigh in.
That's
right
what I
now,
want to know.
'cause
I
we wanna
haven't
know.
heard that.
I'm the same.
Maybe
I
I'll
mean,
have to
like
change my habit.
when I was a kid, I would just leave lights on because I didn't care. And now that you're paying the bill,
Right.
it's going off.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the
As soon as
same
you leave the room,
way
you turn
generally.
it off.
The same
Yeah,
thing with
exactly.
close the door and all that stuff. Yeah.
Oh,
Do you live
see?
in a barn?
Tristy says, what about our furry little friends? They would overheat with no
Yeah.
AC.
82. I don't know. To sleep. Yeah, that's.
And Isabel
a little
says, I've
much.
never had air
Sweaty.
conditioning. We have a few weeks of uncomfortable heat a year. That was really the thing back in the day here. When I started, it was like, people were like, it's a day or two a year, a summer.
Right, exactly.
It's not a
Yeah.
big deal. And I do feel like we're getting more of those 90-degree heat days of late.
I'll tell you what I think is changed. I haven't rolled up my sleeves and verified this data, but I think this is a true statement. It used to be, maybe it was more than a few days, but it was only like back-to-back 90-degree days, or 3 at most. But now we're getting on these runs. We haven't done it this summer, but 5, 6, 7, 8 hot days in a row, that becomes really difficult.
Yeah, it does. A couple years ago, when was it that we had that god-awful stretch and our AC broke?
Last summer.
And literally, it was like 105 degrees in our living room.
Ew.
And our neighbor who was out of town said, come down, you can stay in our house. So my daughter
Well,
and
that
I
was so nice.
just walked a couple houses down. Yeah, she was amazing.
Oh, that was really nice.
Yeah, it was. We were so
Thank goodness.
hot.
She was
we were
calling
bringing
me.
mattresses to the living room because the upper floors were crazy.
Yeah, it wasn't too long ago that, I mean, like now I'm grateful for air conditioning, but growing up, yeah, we didn't have air
No,
conditioning.
we didn't either.
In Missouri, I mean, it was crazy.
Oh, yeah, no kidding. Just
We
the
had it in
humidity
Louisiana
alone.
when I lived there, though. You have to. Some
Yeah.
like
Louisiana.
down south, every place is air
Oh,
conditioned.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Most,
Yeah. Okay, the other fun topic we are discussing this morning. Keep letting us know what you. Oh, Artsy on Instagram says, I don't really have air conditioning. My house naturally stays at 80 degrees. All right, well, there you go. You're saving energy by default.
Yeah, my old house was like that because we had a bunch of fir trees up top, and it
Shade,
had
that
to really be
helps
hot
lot,
for a
yeah,
long time
with
before
what trees
it
and
was
stuff
uncomfortable.
you have.
Yeah.
Okay, so either yesterday or today, the trailer for the new movie, I think it's a movie or a
don't
TV
know.
show on Apple TV called The Morning Show came out, and it's with Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon and Steve Carell. There you can see the video on Facebook. I'll walk you guys over here on Instagram so you can see. It looks really good. So this is kind of like a national morning show like the Today Show. And the premise is that Steve Carell does something that he gets fired, and Jennifer Aniston has to go on the morning show and announce to everybody that her co-anchor has been fired. Kind of like the Matt Lauer situation on the Today Show when Savannah Guthrie and Hoda had to announce that. So then it goes through this thing. Reese Witherspoon is an up-and-coming reporter. They're trying to get her to kind of get on this national morning show. It looks really good. And the actors claim that this is very true to how it really is in the business. I don't know. I haven't seen
That's
it
what the actors are claiming?
I guess. They're like, we studied this. We had, real news people come in and tell us how, these sets should work and how hiring is really done and all this stuff. So I want to know, is there a movie or a TV show that has portrayed your profession in a wrong way, a right way, a funny way? I pulled up some of the movies that have had TV news. Anchorman, obviously, very joking. The old broadcast news, that was a great one. For a podcast the other day, I watched an old movie from the 80s. Dang it, what is it called? And now I forgot, because this was the subject of his switching channels. This one with Kurt Reeves, Burt Reynolds, and Kathleen Turner. And it's kind of a national news thing too.
They're all about TV news.
Well, that's what I mean. Just for us to talk about. Like, Brenda, do you remember watching any of these movies and being like, this is not how it is at all? Which one was kind of the most right on, or can you remember?
Well, I mean, there were parts of broadcast news, like running down the hallway with scripts, stuff like that, the last minute nature of
I
what
ran
we
this
do.
morning to make it for the 4:30
Yeah, you
news.
did. I heard somebody say
I ran
in the
this morning.
newsroom,
I had like
"Where's
30
Nina?"
seconds, yeah.
And you did not have your heels on, though. I heard those little
Oh, heck
feet
no.
on the carpet. But yeah, I think that they way over glamorize it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Probably across the board. We're here and people think that it's glamorous. It's very unglamorous. Although I have to say, my former co-anchor and I went back to New York City to visit with Meredith and Matt. We did a junket, so all the affiliates were going back on the Today Show to shoot promos. And they have a nice life.
Really?
I mean, people were buzzing around me and, let me
So
fix
that's a real
this.
thing?
And they were steaming
Makeup, yeah.
jackets and doing hair and makeup. And then I was just mad when I came back here. I was like,
I have to
see
do all
how
this?
the other half lives.
That's because
So
people
that's
think, they
in the
constantly, and I'm
network.
sure they ask you, oh, you must have somebody doing your
Totally.
makeup and your hair, and you're like, nope,
Yeah.
we do it all ourselves.
Yeah.
We
everyone
used to,
asks
though,
that.
back in the day for special things. They would have
Oh,
makeup
okay.
and, hair
Oh, wow.
come in and stuff. But that ended a long
People
time
think
ago.
like we have people that dress us or do our hair or makeup, and we do everything. And I know, I report all the time too. So I'm out with my own camera, and I'm always asked like, "Oh, where's your photographer?" Or "Oh, who does you
like,
you
"Oh,
people
it's
do your
me."
hair, right?" And I'm
And
like, "No, it's me. I do the camera work, and I do the editing, and I do the writing, and then I'm on camera." And people are like, "Whoa!"
So my favorite for you, and you look amazing. She at her desk has this lighted mirror. and she'll sit in the newsroom,
Yeah.
and you can put it on like that, and you're like flawless. But she doesn't even leave her desk to put on her makeup
Because
sometimes.
I do not have the time. I mean, that's the thing about news that people don't realize is it's like go, 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 go. And that's why I got the lighted mirror for my desk, is because I'm not going to take the time to walk down the hallway because I have deadlines to meet.
We do have a makeup room where you can sit down with full mirrors and light, and
And I just don't have
Christine
the
does not
time.
have the time.
No, I have deadlines.
So what movies or TV shows that showed your job or your profession do you remember watching and you were like, that is totally wrong, or it was right on? So is anyone kind of weighing in?
People want to talk about the temperature.
People
I
wanna
know
talk about
the temperature is the hot
Most
subject.
people have jobs, I guess, that they don't make movies about. Ours
Well,
are
there's a
little
movie about everything.
unusual.
I mean, I think, even insurance, I don't know. Even insurance salesmen have movies about them. But yeah, I had to watch, a friend of mine runs a podcast called US or Us, like VHS. His name's Dirk Marshall. Him and his wife make, it's called Marshall's Hot Sauce, HAUTE, and they sell it in like New Seasons and Whole Foods.
Yum.
Anyway, he grew up in his dad owned a video rental store back in the 80s and 90s. And so he kind of realized as an adult, like he missed those days of talking about movies and seeing the movie posters, and he would always get to bring home like all the swag from these movies.
Yeah.
And so he started a podcast called VHS, and the premise is he invites a guest and he has them watch a movie that is about their profession, and they come in and talk about their profession and how it was portrayed in the film. He's had a witch on who, practices Wiccan.
Yeah.
And I forget what the witch movie was about. I was on, my podcast hasn't come out yet, but it was on that movie Switching Channels from the 80s about TV news. And so it's interesting to kind of, and he's had a chef on about a food movie and all kinds of stuff.
You've
so
had
it's kind of
every
a fun
job that
premise.
there is.
Yes, you have.
Yeah,
Flight attendant.
I could do several podcasts.
You were a flight attendant?
McDonald's
Flight attendant
worker.
with Trans World Airlines back in the heyday when they were the largest carrier, European carrier out of the United States.
What you have to
a lot
do
of
to
fast
become
food
a
restaurants.
flight attendant?
Well, you go. It's. You don't have to have any. Do you have? You don't have any. I'm sure they want you to graduate from high school, but basically the interview process, they're trying to pick out certain personality types.
Yeah.
And I remember they gave you a lot of questions like, you notice back in the day when they had real silverware, you notice a passenger stealing the silverware. What should you do? I mean, it was stuff like that.
Got it.
What would you do
But then you get called back for a second round, called back for a third round. So it's a lengthy process. And the training is usually a couple of months, and then they'll have the pools where they simulate, the big slides opening up, like if you were making a water landing and how to open up those vac slides, and you get to jump and slide down the chutes. That was fun.
I would love to have you as my flight attendant. Can you see him?
Oh
That
my
was a good time.
Amazing.
That was a fun guy.
How many years did you do that for?
3.5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 3.5.
What made you decide, I'm out?
Well, no, when I did, I said that's what I would do. It was a chance to kind of see the world, right? Which I was blessed to be able to do that. I said I'm going to do it for about 3 years, then I'll get into my career.
Oh.
But that was a dumb decision.
What routes did you fly? What places did you go?
Well, I flew out of Kennedy for 6 months, where all I did was transatlantic out of New York. So we did a lot of flights into, of course, London and Paris, and some flights into Rome, quite a bit.
Did you ever have
Athens,
a close call?
Greece. No, I only had one. Not really. I had 2 events. One was severe turbulence. It was during a meal service. I got thrown off my feet sideways into a row of passengers that had just had their trays put on, their meal trays down. So that was a mess. We had a couple people that had some first aid needs. I don't think anybody was seriously injured that we knew of. And then second one up in Chicago, the indicator light saying that the landing gear had locked was not working. So we had to do we did 2 separate low flybys so they could get a visual check on the ground. And then the passengers, prepare for impact. He was really good about telling us what was going on.
Wow.
But it turned out to be just a bad light. The landing gear, in fact,
Did
lock and everything was fine.
And that throws newsrooms into panic. I mean, I've been
you
back
hear it
there
on the
many
scanner.
times. You hear it on the scanner, airport emergency, they're
Fire
scrambling
department
and all
goes
that.
out.
Exactly. And we're like, send a photographer.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Kirsten on Facebook, hi, good morning, thanks for watching. She says the movie Mom's Night Out is like, have you seen that?
I think I did see that.
I think it's pretty brand new, but yeah, it's
Oh,
like,
is it new? Okay, I'm thinking of another movie.
I think it's fairly new.
Is it a bunch of moms that go out?
Yeah.
That's what it is.
And just that sentence sounds amazing. Doesn't it? Mom's Night Out.
Moms that have time to go
Sounds
out.
awesome to me. Because you really have to schedule that stuff now anymore with the babysitter and everything.
Oh boy.
So, okay, so we established that we like 68 to 70 degrees in our home.
Yep, I'm glad we're all in
And not
this
all
together.
TV news movies
Are accurately
accurate.
portrayed.
You remember broadcast news,
Tuesday.
William Hurt? And,
That's what we were talking about. Yeah.
Were you talking about broadcast? I
Holly
thought that was.
Hunter.
I thought there were a lot of things about that were spot on, actually.
What did you think about which part?
Well, do you remember the part where it was back in the tape deck days, and they were running the 3/4 inch tape, and do you remember? You talked about that because that was spot on.
Absolutely.
How many times did that tape go
Yes.
right in and then click? It's on the air. That was so spot on.
Yes.
I mean, some of it was overdone. I suppose. I mean, the big premise was the anchor didn't know much about world events at the beginning, right? William Hurt got this job based on being a pretty boy, right? Wasn't that kind of part of the premise of the movie?
That
Definitely
happens.
sometimes.
Absolutely.
Sometimes.
Well, I was trying to get my job being a pretty boy.
You are so cute.
That's obvious.
you do. You see a little bit of everything.
My husband is a firefighter, and there's, like so many, and when he was like working in the station in Bend for so many years, they run the ambulance service over there. There's no AMR or anything. And so he was mostly on the ambulance because there's not, there's more medical calls than fires and car crashes and all that.
Yeah.
And there, I mean, think about how many hospital drama shows and Fire Chicago Med and all this stuff. And like, he just rolls his eyes at 90% of that. And there's a show, I guess, on Fox right now that's supposed to be like 911 Live or something. Have you heard about that?
I've heard about that. Yeah, where like they are responding to like live.
They have
to 911
supposedly
calls.
like live
Yeah.
TV crews with different cities across the country in ambulances and police cars, and they just like check in on them. I don't know how. I don't know the premise of that, of like how that can be real with HIPAA regulations
wonder
and
about
patient
that too.
privacy
Yeah,
and stuff, and like if they're arresting somebody and you're showing their face on national television as it's happening.
There's got to be some
anyway,
sort of buffer. I don't know.
somebody found out, we were out the other day, and they're like, "Oh, you're a firefighter. Have you seen the 911 Live?" And he was just like, "Come on, that's not real." Anyway,
I mean, literally
so.
some of those programs, because for the most part, now, thank goodness we're getting away from this now. But back in the day, you could watch an entire newscast, sometimes half an hour, 2 hours, nothing but slime and crime and death and just, if it leads, it bleeds kind of thing. And I'm like, when I go on my off time, I do not want to watch fictionalized, crime.
Yeah, we get enough of it.
SVU, whatever it is, like, no thanks. I see that
too
all
much.
day long.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding.
So.
All right. Good chat, everyone. Thank you. Have a wonderful Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
You're in the weather department. You have to talk